everybody, we are back. We are still testing the Audioquest Jitterbug. Last time we tested on my MacBook Pro 2013. Today we're going to start testing on iOS devices. I tried using my iPad Pro with the USB thing, the new one, and I was using just a generic USB-C hub, which is obviously getting power from the iPad, and the Mojo simply wouldn't connect. So it's a done deal. It won't work. Because we're going to test with the Mojo. We're starting to test other things. So last time we had the Cobalt, and this time we have the Mojo. And our headphones of choice are the Focal Clear. Okay, so I tested this already, and hopefully the Mojo is not going to panic, because the Mojo has issues, right? There are times where it just decides, I'm not going to listen to an iOS device, even though it really should, because I have the camera adapter, which is exactly what the Mojo needs. So let me just test real quick. Yes, I'm actually hearing something. And it's not my imagination. Yes, the Mojo is being driven. Great. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is, first off, we are going to just listen for noise. Is there any noise at all? I hear nothing. I'll increase the volume to, I don't know, pinkish. Yeah, that's pink. Well, on the screen it's not pink, but to me it's pink. And let me disconnect the headphones. No difference. No difference. And by the way, if you were wondering what this thing is, this is just a 1/4 inch to a 3.5 millimeter adapter. It's passive. It doesn't do anything other than just change the connection type. Okay, so no noise whatsoever that I can tell when this thing is not playing anything. So I'm going to bring the volume back down to something a bit more reasonable. How about 2 blue? That sounds good, whatever that volume happens to be. And we're going to just pick a song. Let's do Heartbreak by Chris Serra. That's loud. That is very loud. Hello. Bring you back down to double orange. So soothing. Orange is appropriate because it's October and Halloween is around the corner. I don't hear any noise. I mean, no jitter, no excessive harshness. Now, the Mojo already has a bit of noise built into it. It's just this weird circuitry that it has. But even then, it's not noisy. There's a big difference. This thing is not noisy. It just has some sort of way of managing the signal that comes in that comes off as less clean and analytical than it would be, say, with the Cobalt or with the ADI or the THX amplifiers. Okay. Let's stop, and now what we're going to do is go back. I'm going to plug in our little friend here, and theoretically it should just pass the signal, right? That's what it should do. And this light's back on, so that's a good sign. Let's play. Yes, it works. So now you know that you can actually use, if you have a Chord Mojo, you can use a Chord Mojo with your iPhone, but you got to get this adapter. Just plug it in like you would normally once you have the adapter, and it should just make a connection fairly quickly. And then you get your Jitterbug, connect that to the adapter, then you connect the Mojo to This is what you're left with. Yeah, totally reasonable. I don't hear any noise. That's good, right? It's supposed to delete noise. And so I don't hear any noise, which is bueno. So this is what we're going to do next. Around 30 seconds of this song, let me see here. And by the way, the master volume here was set around 25%. I'm just controlling volume from the unit itself. Some people are going to gripe about that. You're supposed to use volume from the, whatever. Right, about 33 seconds. So what I'm going to do is listen to the song from 30 to 33 seconds all the way to about 45 seconds. I'm going to listen to the bass and try to figure out, okay, get an idea what the bass is, then switch to just the Mojo and then try again. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the bass. Dun, 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 dun. And I'll increase the volume just for you. Doesn't do anything. So the master volume does nothing. So I got control volume here. We're on 2 lime greens. Okay, I got an idea. Now let's go just to the Mojo. Turned on, here we go. Here's the bass. I don't hear a difference at all. Okay, so let me try again. I'm gonna go back to 33 seconds. Just about. Plug this back in. Recognized. Here we go again. And if you hear scratching right now, that's not from this. It's from this. Hey, dude, excuse me. We're in the middle of something. Come on. Okay. No difference. There's absolutely zero difference. There's no noise in either that I can pick up, right? Nothing coming from here that would say it's noisy. This doesn't add or delete any noise. It also doesn't add or delete anything in the sound signature. So the bass is the same as it was just out of the Mojo. The mids seem exactly the same. I don't hear any tonality difference in the vocalist. This is adding nothing. But let's keep testing because we're just those types of people. We like to keep testing. Let's go to scherzo for X, scherzo for X. I've been told so many times by the subscriber, you're doing it wrong. I know, I'm sorry. Scherzo for X-Wings. Did I get it right this time? Leave a comment if I did. Here we go. Still lime green, because that's a volume now, lime green. This is with the adapter. And the idea is we get to about 25 seconds of this song and then switch to just the Mojo. Okay, and this will be a good test regarding the treble. Come on, wake up. There we go. So far I hear zero difference. Tonality is exactly the same. Treble sounds exactly the same to me. Yeah, the treble energy seems to be exactly the same, but you know what, just for shits and giggles, let's try again. Okay. And mind you, I haven't touched the volume. Oh, look, the volume matches. This is green in the background, and this is green too. It's like they were made in heaven for each other. No difference. So guys, there's absolutely zero difference in the treble region because when you... So scherzo for X-Wings has a tremendous amount of treble energy. And this alone and this with the combo, there is no difference. None. Nor is there any difference with respect to any noise that may be deleted because you're using the adapter versus not using the adapter. And that's a very key and integral statement to make. And here's why. Because if you're used to just listening to a setup and you don't know that it's noisy, then an adapter like this, when implemented, should allow you to determine that what you were listening to was noisy before. Does that make sense? For example, it's like driving a 94 Honda, and I keep talking about Hondas, but bear with me. It's like driving a 94 Honda, and you're just used to the way that the thing drives on the road, and then all of a sudden you have the opportunity to drive a Mercedes. And you realize, wow, I was driving a Honda. This is a Mercedes. This is totally different. I know that's a huge difference, but you should be able to tell when you actually include something in your chain that is supposed to increase the sound or decrease the noise or do something, once you implement it, you should be able to tell the difference. However, I can't. There's no difference to be had. Now you might say, look, this thing is very clear. This is the top of the line iPhone 10 and 10X, by the way. iPhone 10X, and you should expect that Apple would put the best stuff in here. Yes, that's exactly right. Once again, the same analogy that I had with the laptop this morning, which is laptops generally do not have faulty, bad USB ports out of the box. And yes, higher priced products are going to have better stuff, better components, and there might be phones and there certainly might be electronics that use cheaper stuff, even in 2019. Yes, that's absolutely possible. But that's a very specific use case. And Audioquest doesn't say, use this only if you're using a Samsung flip phone from 2006. That's not what they say. They don't say you should expect a noticeable difference if you're using an iOS device pre-2010. That's not what they say. Right? So the only conclusion you have is this thing is supposed to work with everything. If it's not supposed to get rid of the noise, if there is no noise to get rid of, then Audioquest also says in their website that it makes songs better. It makes audio better. It's incredibly vague. I don't hear a difference. I don't hear a worse. I don't hear a better. I hear the same, right? So this thing has failed. If Audioquest says this makes things sound more full, it makes things sound more lush, it makes things sound better, it hasn't. Okay, let's try one more. Let's try one more song. Because we are fair-minded individuals. And let's go to New Light by Kazuki, because that has a tremendous amount of detail. And what we want to know is if, with this thing deleted from the chain, if the Mojo has any alters the music, the sound in any way. Okay, so it's currently in the chain. Here we go, New Light. It starts off with this kind of a low rumble. There's a little bit of piano playing. You hear the wind rustling through the grass. You can hear somebody walking on the grass, crunch, crunch. It's a little muffled on the Mojo. It always has been. Okay, we're at 25 seconds. I'm going to go back and just use the Mojo alone. Here we go. Sounds the same. The wind sounds exactly the same to me. The crunching sounds exactly the same. The crunching of the grass. The kids in the background sound the same to me. Okay, so now let's move forward. Let's go to about 2 minutes and 14 seconds. That's approximately the time when there should be a whole lot going on in the song. Yeah, the volume is up. You have some sort of string instrument playing, possibly a cello. You hear the piano. And there's this low rumble in the background. Okay, let's go back to 2:14. Oops, plug this in. Here we go again. There's no difference. Sounds exactly the same. Absolutely 100% the same. There's literally no difference at all. Zero, zero, zero difference. If there is a way to be less than zero on a different scale, like even less than zero change, that's what this would be. There's nothing here. This does nothing. All right, so let me talk about conclusions. I have a love-hate relationship with the Mojo. I have a hate-hate relationship with Chord, but I have a love-hate relationship with the Mojo. Despite all of its faults, it's still a good DAC amp. It's got some issues with noise that's just inherent in this thing. It's not overwhelming. It's nothing that should drive you away from this unit. The price and all the other failures might. But this thing is only supposed to affect what comes out of your source, right? It doesn't affect this because there's no way to connect. There's no way to do that. So I'm going to give you a couple of points here. Number one, this thing, an iPhone XS, sorry, double X. The iPhone XS is a very good phone with an exceptionally good and clean and undistorted and noiseless audio connection from the lightning cable, right? The lightning port. The Chord gets the signal as pristine as you can get it from this device, right? This device is not adding any additional distortion. Whatever little distortion noise comes from the Mojo, which means that when you use something like this, the butterfly, what is this? Jitterbug. When you use the Jitterbug with the phone, it's not attenuating anything because there's nothing to attenuate. It's just passing the signal along like it would if it wasn't there. And so that clean-ish, let's assume for a second it's cleanish signal, that cleanish signal goes into the Mojo, which then does its own thing, which is in itself inherently noisy, and then you get that back out into your headphones. So you've done nothing to the chain. You haven't solved the problem, and that is the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, point two is that if you're experiencing noise, it may not be your source. It may actually be your actual amplifier or DAC or your headphone or something external that this thing made of plastic cannot attenuate. Physics doesn't work the way that some self-proclaimed audiophiles believe it works. Physics is an immutable law of nature. This plastic housing will not prevent RF signal from being around you. There is a possibility, depending on how it's shielded on the inside, that no further RF interference is going to enter into the signal, but it cannot prevent RF signal from being inherently inside your source. Does that make sense? Or inherently inside your DAC or your amp. Because this thing is outside this thing. Whatever's already in here is coming into here. Now this is supposed to attenuate any noise, filter out any particular hum or buzz or whatever, or jitters, and then not pass that along to the amplifier and the DAC. I get that. But if it's the DAC and the amplifier that is actually the problem, then this can't solve it. This will not, this won't solve what's inherently an issue inside your player, your amp, your DAC. Does that kind of make sense? So that was point two. I think overall, you have to be exceptionally cautious about claims that a little piece of plastic like this can make demonstrable changes. And you have to be very wise in how you read claims from manufacturers, because I put manufacturers' claims on a different level than I put users' claims, or people who aren't even users and make claims. Because when manufacturers make claims, they have to be exceptionally careful with their wording. Otherwise, they're going to get sued. You're not going to get sued if you're on Headphone. You make a comment that you say this is the best thing and it changes the tonality, it makes it more warm and whatever. It doesn't, because nobody's going to sue you for that. They can't. It's a personal opinion. But a manufacturer that is trying to sell you something, they're on the hook if they mislead you into buying something. So what Chord does, or not Chord, I'm sorry, what Audioquest does is that they tell you that this changes the signal measurably. It has a measurably lower distortion out of here. lower noise, lower, less jitters, whatever, measurably. Well, anything, almost anything can be measured. Hypothetically, a measurement of 0.001 is a measurement, and consequently, that is well within the language of the manufacturer, the language that the manufacturer used. Audioquest says, for example, it reduces measurably noise coming from your source. That may be, because when you measure it, it might be a 0.001 difference, less noise because you're using this. We measured it. It's there. It is an actual real number. It's a real number. When companies say things like that, measurably instead of noticeably, for example, then you know that things are not quite what they appear. Audioquest could easily have said, this thing noticeably makes your music less noisy, no matter what you use, no matter what device you have. Because noticeably has a very different definition. Noticeably means your five senses, human senses. Humans have five senses. And if you can notice the difference through your ears, then Audioquest has achieved a milestone. But if you cannot notice a difference, then Audioquest has done nothing. They haven't actually improved the sound in any way that you can hear, that you can notice. Now, here's the thing. There are some self-proclaimed audiophiles, and I call them self-proclaimed because they make certain outrageous claims. There are self-proclaimed audiophiles who say that these types of devices are amazing, that they absolutely make a difference. And their excuse for making that sort of comment is saying, I can hear it, why can't you hear it? Either you're using shitty stuff or you have absolutely terrible ears. Well, that's a very condescending type of thing to say, and it shows that individual's total ignorance. First of all, it shouldn't matter what device that you use. It shouldn't matter, by the way, I've had this thing on my head the entire time. It shouldn't matter that you're using the Clear, or you're using a Beats headphone, or you're using something that your mom got you for your birthday 3 years ago, and that's the only thing that you have. You are an audiophile, and you as an audiophile should be allowed to enjoy your music any which way you want. Nobody's chastising the individual who went out and spent $60 on this. Go ahead, waste your money. I don't care. Why do you people end up chastising and ridiculing and denigrating individuals who cannot afford something like the Focal or an audeze or even a monolith? Why are you denigrating those people? If they can only afford a $50 headphone and they saved for that $50 headphone, you should award them, you should reward them, you should applaud them for having the gumption to save up money and then to make a very concerted decision to purchase that particular headphone. That's the one they wanted. You know why it's a concerted effort? Because they had to save for it, god damn it. Those individuals who work their asses off had to save for that headphone, whether it's $50 or $100 or $3,000. It shouldn't matter. You treat those individuals with respect. And number two, if it takes a high-end setup, wait for this, guys. If it takes a high-end setup, you need a Mojo that costs $500, you need the Focal Clear that goes for $1,500 MSRP, then, and that's the only way you'll be able to hear a difference, then this thing is a piece of crap. Because you absolutely need something that equals $2,000. You need $2,000 worth of gear to get the benefit of a $60 piece of plastic and metal. Did you get that? That's how ridiculous those types of arguments are. In order to enjoy a purported benefit of a $60 device, you need to spend an additional $2,000. You can do whatever you want with your money, but frankly, that sounds a little stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid, I'm just saying that your conduct is incredibly stupid. Consequently, and excuse me for being so angry, but the whole purpose of this channel is to first of all debunk stupid claims and second, to reinforce and to support individuals who are, they love music. That's what an audiophile is. That you just love music. Yeah, you want to tinker with stuff. Who doesn't? Everybody wants to tinker with stuff. But you shouldn't be goaded, and you shouldn't be pressured, and you shouldn't be chastised and ridiculed into buying more and more expensive things. Manufacturers do it often enough. That's bad enough. You don't need purported, self-proclaimed pseudo-audiophiles to do it as well. It's just so disingenuous. But that was my rant. As far as the connection thing here, the Mojo with the iPhone with this, zero difference. You might as well not waste your $60. Save up that $60 for something else. Treat your girlfriend or your boyfriend to a nice lunch, lunch or dinner, which is typically, if you do it in between, it's called a dinner, not a dunch. Wait, if you want to buy this, go ahead and buy it. If you think it might help your system, you can certainly try it, but you should really reconsider, and you should definitely think about whether there might be other factors involved, not just your source. Have you considered changing your source? If you have another phone, if you're just using an old beat up phone because that's where all your music is, but you do have a better phone, why not use the better phone? Right? Wouldn't that be, because you already have it, you don't have to spend any more money. Or if you have something like, say the Mojo or something else, and it inherently has some noise in there. Well, adding this to the chain is not going to get rid of it because it's inherent in here. The signal is being passed to that amplifier or that DAC, and the noise is added inside that amplifier and DAC. This is outside of it, pre-chain, right, before it gets in here. And so the headphone gets only what the noise is from inside of that amplifier or DAC. So buying this is not going to attenuate this. Ultimately, our test number 2 with at least an iPhone XS shows there's zero difference. You can walk away knowing that this does in fact pass signal, and it will pass power, probably power, but this does pass signal to the Mojo if you're going to use it with the iPhone. And I suspect it'll probably do that with the iPad, but I'll get the adapter for the iPad tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to do a test tomorrow or the following day, which is going to be Thursday. And so we'll know. I'm trying to do all the tests I possibly can think of, doing mobile devices, laptops, and we'll get to the desktop computer. I'll use various other things, but there's a point at which you just got to throw your hands up and say, enough. Enough is enough. We're not there yet. We're still testing, but as of today, right now, test number 2, total failure. A total donut. That's what this thing is, a complete donut. I hope that this has been of some help. I really do apologize for the ranting and the raving, but it felt appropriate because of just the strong vitriolic commentary that sometimes happens amongst pseudo-audiophiles and audiophiles. If you enjoy my content, if you think that any of these videos are helpful, I might suggest that you might consider joining me on Patreon. I currently have 11 wonderful, amazing patrons who have decided to give me just a little bit of their hard-earned money once a month, every month. Even $2 a month from you would help me a long way to save up more and more money so that I can buy new products, test them, and then give you my honest feedback, my honest opinion about what I hear and how these types of things may or may not affect you in the real world. If you are a regular viewer but you haven't subscribed, hey, think about subscribing. We are well over 580 subscribers today, and that is fantastic. I would love to get to 600 before the end of the year, and if we can make that happen as a collective, that would be great. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you want me to review a product I currently own, go ahead and look in the description section, and in that description section, there's going to be a review request form. Fill that out. I'll get your request as soon as I can. I hope all of you have a wonderful, amazing, great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.